Welcome to the first episode of the Blacklist Redemption AFTERBUZZ show. Leland Bray. That's all I got to say. Let's go.
Lord, help us all.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, get it, Joe.
I like when they make the beat real easy, then you can be on it. So you don't have to be beat adjacent. You can.
You're still across the street from the beat.
Damn it!
I could watch this all day.
If you're gonna walk to the beat,
If the beat introduced itself to me, and then took my hand, maybe I'd be okay. Be like, oh,
maybe
that's where we're
there's
going
an
to be.
express line bus you can take to the beat.
You think so?
Surprise Tracy dance.
Welcome to the first
I'm
episode of the Blacklist Redemption
I think it's a
after
gift.
show.
I love you.
For those of you who are tuning in for the first time to the Blacklist Redemption after show and AFTERBUZZ, I'm Joe Braswell. I'm joined, I will say as always, but for this first time, I'm joined by the lovely Julia Cearley.
Hello, here we are, redemption time, bros. What?
What's that? You gonna do a beer bong now? What is
I
that
would
character?
love to. I bet you I still got it.
And
It's
I'm also
redemption, more effort!
I might have to do this show drunk.
I'm also joined by the lovely Joe Sanfelippo.
It's nice to be here with you guys.
We don't have a blacklist. If you're watching on YouTube, we don't have a Blacklist Redemption thingy yet.
We don't have it.
It still says the Blacklist,
Well, it's still in the title.
but you know,
It works.
It'll work. We'll get there.
We will have
We're still in
one
the Blacklist
next
universe.
week. We also are joined on the line by the lovely Jody Walker, who writes not only the Blacklist regular, the Blacklist. The original Blacklist recap on NEW, but now writes the Blacklist Redemption recap on Entertainment Weekly. Jody, hello.
Oh, hello. I just do it all, don't I?
Yes. If there's anything with a blacklist in the title, Jody's writing the recap.
I would say we should also add to Jody's moniker that she is definitely the ghostwriter on our show if she's not calling in, because I'm certain every week one of us at least steals something you've written that is funny and absolutely pawns it off as our own.
It's all there for the taking. Just take it.
Well, it's so good. How
Let me
could we
steal
not?
this brilliant take Jody had.
That's great.
What does it say?
The gird your loins.
That's what I told you.
Gird your edible loins. Jody, you kill us.
Yes.
Your edible loins.
It's amazing.
Okay.
You know, I struggled over that a little bit if that was too aggressive of an opening line.
No, it's
Oh,
perfect.
no.
I'm glad to hear that you were
Spot
comfortable with
on.
it.
For those of you not aware of who Oedipus is, go to frickin' school.
Oh, Joe.
No, that's mean. I'm sorry, you're right. Oedipus marries his mother by accident, Joe Costa. Eventually they all figure it out. Oedipus blinds himself, Joe Costa kills herself. After Oedipus kills his father. It's a very deep, ugly thing, but it's worth looking up because that's a hell of an opening line.
Yes,
Gird
it
your
is.
edible loins.
Also, it's also Julia Cearley's favorite card in Cards Against Humanity.
I do love an Oedipus complex card.
That's
It's
the
so good.
biggest
I
tell.
save it all
Every time
the
I read
time.
Oedipus Complex, I'm like, Julia. She's over there like giggling. Anyway, welcome to Blacklist Redemption AFTERBUZZ show.
Game night.
That's game night soon. We're here. We finally made it to Blacklist Redemption.
Here we are.
There's no colon.
Wait,
Did they drop the colon?
There's a colon right here.
Well, Jody put a colon in. I don't think it was wrong in real life.
I don't know, but
I think there's a colon. I think there's a colon.
I think there's a colon too, Joe.
How could there not be?
I've been wrong before. It's happened.
Yeah. I don't know.
These people, they have to get redeemed somehow. There's a colon. They're going to do it.
They need a colon.
So I want to talk a little, before we talk about the actual episode itself, I want to sort of get to how we got to Blacklist Redemption. And I'm also curious from all of you, who's being redeemed and what from? I still don't understand it. The promos, seem to indicate that there's 3 blacklisters.
The worst blacklisters of all blacklister time.
The best 3.
Who all
Worst
does
3.
one thing.
Redemption.
No one's even mentioned the word redemption.
I know.
No.
I don't get it.
I don't think it really is a thing.
well, you know,
this is only first episode.
Well,
True.
promos aren't written necessarily by the people who wrote the show. Promos are written by the promo department. So, they might have. How do we sell
Right.
this? We sell
Okay.
it this way.
Still.
Well,
It still has
And
to
the
make
promo
sense.
department gets the name of the show, and so they think that redemption is a big thing of it. But I will say that I thought that was somewhere that I really enjoyed the premiere. I do think that it fell short in that aspect because that was something that was promoted to a lot, and it doesn't. If you search hard, you can think about how everyone is potentially redeeming themselves,
Right.
particularly Tom. But no one else really seems to be looking for redemption in any way.
Yeah, Matthias Solomon certainly doesn't seem to be particularly redemptive.
He's like, yeah, I got it. It's
like
it's
a
a
new
job.
gig.
It's a living.
Yeah, that's it.
And I don't want any redemption out of him. I like him just the way he
Me
is.
too.
I agree.
He's great.
I agree.
And what's my girl's name? My girl's name?
Nez Rowan,
Nez Rowan.
right?
She's the best too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's great.
She can
She's just
redeem
badass.
me.
I don't think she needs.
She can redeem
I
me
don't think she
anytime.
gives a shit about redemption. I think she
know.
just wants to kick ass.
The way I like it. I don't know what that means. Yes, I don't understand.
What is it? I'm here to kick ass. And what is it? Oh, damn. Never mind. I can't make the reference if I can't remember it
Yeah.
from They Live.
Yeah, right.
I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Yeah,
Is that the...
that's
I
the
have no
one.
idea.
Just you, Flippo. All right.
No, I know that, but that's not just from They Live. That's from everything.
Also, in the redemption vein, he hasn't even really joined Halcyon yet. So maybe once he
Yeah.
officially joins in the next episode, we see in the
yeah.
promos Matthias Solomon saying, we take jobs that are morally questionable but justified. So maybe that's like the purpose of
Legally
Halcyon.
questionable, morally right.
Yeah,
right?
something like that. I don't know.
Maybe that's what.
Maybe, yeah, maybe legal,
maybe
whatever.
that's what
Is that the deal?
Halcyon's all about
like that.
because we are getting her morally questionable. So
So
we're
I'm saying that maybe
seeking
that's what they
redemption.
do. They only
right.
do good stuff.
So Halcyon is essentially the A-Team on steroids, and if you can find them.
Maybe
what
they
I'm
can
thinking.
rename themselves to Redemption Squad.
Redemption Squad. Emancipate us. No.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Jesus.
No good.
What's voice was that you're doing?
That's Redemption song. That's
know,
my man Bob Marley.
But you were doing Bob Marley? Is
I shouldn't have, but it was a joke. It sprang to
Okay,
mind.
is that a Jamaican accent you were doing there?
Terrible, wasn't it?
You got a lot of
I
accents.
apologize to everyone in Jamaica.
A lot of accents. Jamaican's
And
not one of them.
everyone that's been to Jamaica.
All right.
Jamaica.
We
That's exactly what they sounded like.
completely digress. So Blacklist Redemption. So we're here now. I no, Janae, back to you. I'm sorry. I want to ask you, how did we're trying to talk about some of this connective tissue that got us from out of the Blacklist and into Redemption, because obviously we have three main characters that showed up in Blacklist. One is a star of Blacklist that are all crossing over into Redemption. Maybe just walk us through. So we know that Scotty ran Halcyon. She was in an episode of Blacklist. Her right hand person is Nez, right?
Nez Rowan.
Nez Rowan. And then our man Solomon was a Blacklist contract operative, contracted previously by who?
What's his name?
I can't remember.
Kirk.
Alexander Kirk.
Kirk.
Who is now working for Halcyon as well. I don't know, Jody. Am I getting this right? Like, how do these people all? Where do they come from? If you're just tuning in.
Yeah, I think that's all right. So now, what I'm trying to fully remember is when did Kirk contract Halcyon or did he just contract Solomon? Because my assumption going into this redemption was that some of the redemption was for Halcyon in general, who has perhaps not always taken justifiable cases, like, for example, abducting a woman from her wedding in just the name of because a rich man wanted them to.
Right.
And murdering lots and lots of people.
Perhaps some of that redemption is that they are kind of operating on the straight and narrow, or at least working for somewhat straight and narrow companies like the CIA. And kind of doing the things that those companies need to have done but can't necessarily do themselves. And I was actually surprised that there was not really that much crossover from the Blacklist. It didn't bother me. I was just surprised that it really quite immediately after Lizzie was off the scene became its own show.
Right. That's right. And I'm also surprised I kept at least having all these predictions as to how they would spin Tom off. We predicted like there'd be some sort of rift or schism between Tom and Lizzie, or something would go off the rails. Or what about Spagnus? Is Spagnus going to die because she's going to go for redemption? How's this all going to happen? And seems like he's just going to commute. He's going to commute from DC to, he's going to take the train.
Only an hour plane.
I have a friend in town in New York from DC right this second. It's not really that far away.
No, it's not.
I mean, Restaurant of Bobby do it in 5 minutes every
No,
episode.
every episode.
Like, how that could be?
Yeah, and they don't even have a jet.
I was going to say, they don't take 95. Whatever they do, it's different. You're on 95, right?
No, she's on
yeah, 95.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the super suburban. I do want to just take a moment to say hello to all of our folks who are watching and listening in our chat room live. Really appreciate you guys tuning in live for this. And a lot of them, most of them, say hello to you, Jody, Golden Toe, and Andrew Martin, and Sylvia Love, and Anna Pohora Saha, and they all say hello, Jody. Hi, Jody.
Well, hey guys,
Sweet.
it's always so fun to talk to you.
There you are. So glad to have you guys all back. And so this episode, back to sort of the how this is going to work. This episode opens with a little special appearance by Lizzie Keene, right?
I have a question
Here we go.
about that first scene.
Huh?
He gets a phone call from presumably his father's lawyers that say, "Hey, we have to talk to you about the will." Now,
Today.
nobody knows that Tom is in any way related to Howard, right?
Excellent.
To the
question,
Hargraves,
Julia.
because
Well,
he's
and-
not Christopher Hargrave, he's
Right.
Tom Keene. Christopher
So-
Hargrave they think is missing
So
or dead.
that's a really great point you
No.
made.
What the F?
No,
wait.
wait, hold on. The call was from.
Yeah, I get that, but
Okay.
still, like he was like, "Oh, well, they want to talk to me about my father's will."
No, wait a second.
Nobody
So-
knows.
Who's they?
Whoever they are, the lawyer. We don't know who
His
they
dad's
are.
lawyers, but
But
nobody
presumably-
knows that you're Christopher Hargrave.
But
Why
if-
would they think that you're connected to these
And
people?
if the lawyers call, why does Susan not know that this is all going on? Because it seems to me that Susan's
well, the lawyers
running the
obviously
lawyers.
didn't call.
Obviously not.
It was Howard that
Right.
called, who is presumed dead. But I'm saying, why?
But does no one in the planet know?
No.
So you're saying Tom should be
my
more alarmed? Go ahead,
assumption
Jody.
was that Tom took that to mean that, they have found this out. But that is doing a lot of narrative work as the viewer to make that leap.
But
because
even Lizzie was like, "Oh, well, your dad was a millionaire. Maybe he left us some money." Like, no one was like, "Wait a second, who the hell is this?"
This is suspicious. Yeah, some super spy
Right.
family they are.
Right? Am I crazy or am I missing
I
something
thought I heard
here?
Spagnus go, "Don't go, gaga, goo goo." Spagnus is the only one in the case.
Seriously, what the fuck, you guys?
I'm a baby.
Is no one thinking critically here?
I'm Spy Baby. All right. I don't know. That's a good point.
Right off the bat, I was like, "Oh, wait a second."
But Tom did go back into
Yeah,
like.
I agree. That was a shaky foot to start out on, and it didn't make a lot of sense.
It made zero sense to me.
Yeah, I mean,
What I let myself believe as I was writing the recap was that Tom was getting this call and thinking that they have now put the pieces together, that these lawyers have put the pieces together and realized that he is Christopher, and since he knows that he's Christopher, he doesn't ask a lot of questions and is just going to go figure it out. But I don't know if that's true because they didn't give me that information.
That takes a lot of soul searching.
yeah.
I feel ya, but I was just mad from the,
his soul
from the
searching
jump.
only
Well,
took for
because of it.
Tom. His soul searching again only took. This is the other thing. After we saw the old sort of like kicking the rocks, orphan act from Tom. Like, I don't want to know my dad. And he did it again. The whole like, I'm not going. Stupid Will. Like, I don't care. It's like, well, you gotta go.
We might get a new car and a vacay.
I guess I got this interview. I got this teacher interview to go to.
Oh, rough.
But
So,
he goes. All right.
He decides
He
to
goes.
go.
We'll move past it. I just had to say my
He
piece.
goes to
Fine.
New
He
York
goes.
where the cab again. I love the dominoes. That is to me the absolute blacklist. The blacklist signature is that everything's going to line up just right. So as he gets off the plane at the airport,
blacklist
the
world.
first cab he gets into is the cab that he's supposed to get into.
Well-
Capuche, and we drop from there, and then we'll take you to the phones right here that are still working. That
Yes,
exist.
I haven't. You live in New York, Jody. I don't live in New York. How many payphones are still around?
Well, when you're walking on the sidewalks of New York, you try to ignore a good number of things. So it's
Lots.
possible that
True.
there are payphones that I'm just not noticing, but I've certainly never heard a payphone ring.
Right.
And I
I'll
never,
be done
oh,
seeing
wait, you know
about
what?
everything.
There are a lot of payphone stalls because people do some unseemly things in them.
I was gonna say,
Okay.
like the
They're not
last
talking about
time.
themselves.
Last time I looked at a payphone, thought about a payphone, the smell coming off the payphone.
Oh yes.
That's not where that
So
goes.
here's one thing I have never done in the history of anything, and I'm old, is walk by a ringing cell phone. It's the ring stops me in my tracks. I look, is that ringing? And I walk over and hello?
But you're not a super secret spy, though.
Yeah, that's
And
not
you
super
didn't
secret
have the
spy.
guy in the
Didn't the cab
cab
say
say
it's for you?
it's for
And
you.
that cab
there you
driver
go.
did tell
There you
me
go.
Yeah.
after that.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so listen, I'll stop. We'll stop. Suspension of disbelief is
Okay.
here.
There we go.
So, gets out of the cab, he
Piece
gets
of
on the phone. There is a cool a very suspicious sounding man on the other end, very nervous, conspiratorial sounding guy on the other end saying, you know, you've got to do what I say, meet me at the park.
You're Christopher Hargrave. You were abducted when you were 4. You ran away when you were 12.
Exactly.
You went to the major. He knows everything, has a picture.
Knows everything. And so, yeah, so he does it. He meets him, and he gets there. And who is there but his dad?
Papa.
His daddy.
His dad, old
Howard under the trees,
Hargrave.
crazy as hell.
Yeah.
Yes,
Terry O'Quinn.
played by the great Terry O'Quinn. Now this is how you can class up a joint. See, when things seems absolutely ridiculous and implausible, you throw some great actors at it. You know, I mean, see Harry Potter or anything. You know, you throw some great actors at it, and you're like, yeah, exactly. And so the second Terry O'Quinn showed up, I'm like, oh, okay, of course, this is going to all make sense. And in general, Terry O'Quinn, you know, Famke Jensen, all these folks. My man who plays Solomon, I can never pronounce his name. Idai Gatti, I can never pronounce his name. But all those guys are great, and so you have a great cast. Like it can suspend your disbelief a long, long way.
Absolutely.
Or good actors, I should say. Which is what happens to us over in Blacklist with Lizzie, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So
Easy.
So Terry Quinn shows up. Terry O'Quinn. I'm sorry. Very happy to see Mr. Locke, and he then begins to explain, you know, sort of like the backstory that he thinks that his plane was down by
Scotty, his own wife.
That's right, his own wife, and why?
To take control of the whole thing. So she can be in charge of everything.
And
he's
up
out
to no good.
Right, as opposed to
she had him declared incompetent. But kind of makes sense because look how paranoid and skittish he is. He looked a little crazy.
Just because he was searching for a lost kid for 30 years, I will say I had a few questions about the timelines of, you know, people. He would say he never gave up on something or she never gave up on something. But it's easy to forget that this kid has been missing for 30 years. And sometimes they just kind of make it seem like it's been 5 years.
Do you know what's am I the only one that when he went to his crash pad there, his safe house crash pad apartment, am I the only one going 30 years? Wouldn't you have more red yarn up on the wall? Wouldn't you have more pictures?
I watch Homeland. I see what Carrie does.
I mean, shit. I've seen some of those boards. 30 years. I'd have some more yarn. That's all I'm saying. I think he went to the yarn store once.
Maybe we just saw a little piece.
I mean, he went to Joann's like one time.
It's just one. Joann's. It's just one thing. Hey, let's do that.
We're doing some work back there. All right.
Hey,
we got Redemption.
I'm sorry. Yeah, if you're listening, we have a Blacklist Redemption.
We're bona fide.
We're real. Ivan Soto wants to know I'm with Ivan. He's like, so Howard's crazy, right?
Howard's crazy.
Is he?
Ish. We don't know yet. He acts crazy.
Okay. What I do want to do, is I want to go back to Scotty in that opening scene that we see, which I thought was kind of cool with sort of Scotty doing her thing. They're building this sort of character affectation around her, where she has to sort of be what they did this in the crossover in the backdoor pilot, where she's having to rehearse and
what was her mantra?
Rubber baby bumpers.
Do it, Joe. Do it.
Rubber baby bumpy bugger. It was never the one I did. I did Black Bugs Bleed by Blood, and we did I'm a mother pheasant plucker. I pluck mother pheasants. I'm the meanest mother pheasant plucker ever plucked a mother pheasant. Go for it. Try it.
I never knew that one.
I don't know that one.
I'm a mother pheasant plucker. I pluck mother pheasants. I'm the meanest mother pheasant plucker ever plucked a mother pheasant. Try it. Try it.
No.
You're gonna say bad words.
Anyway, so we have this thing where she has her her mantra, which is it more of a mantra? Is it more of a rehearsal thing?
Because she's getting ready to act.
She's getting into character.
But she was doing it at the grave at the end. So she was doing it before she psyched dude out on the plane, the fake plane, and then she was doing it at the grave. I'm like, why are you rehearsing at the grave?
The fake plane was cool.
That was cool. That was a cool move.
That was cool, guys. Yeah. I liked that a lot.
The fake plane was cool.
That was a cool move.
Haven't seen that before. That's new.
So Scotty, like I thought that was very insightful into Scotty's character. I mean, we had that before. It's a person who is obviously a very powerful woman who is no nonsense, but has some sort of very deep insecurities about how she is presented, and how she looks, or if she's actually up to the part, which I think is a very interesting thing back there. And also that rubber baby buggy bumper thing is also a tell of some sorts, as we get to maybe a tell when we got to the grave thing, but. It also makes us question, as does Tom, is this really a woman capable of, is she really out for something larger? Because there's a level of vulnerability there with her that seems like she's really out to do the right thing. I don't know. Jody, what do you think? Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that was there were a few things that I thought the premiere really nailed. And one especially was making both of the parents, both Howard and Scotty, you know, really making you feel a different thing every time they were on screen. At first it seems like Howard's totally crazy and he's telling Tom to stay out of the trees, which is like classic crazy people talk. And then in the final scene, I thought he evoked a lot of empathy in someone who just cared about finding his son and seems to, you know, care about the world a little bit. He doesn't want Scotty out there with all this information. But then on the other side of that is that Scotty seems kind of like this ruthless leader, but then she also really seems to care about her son.
Right.
So, you know, for me, jury is still out on which one. It seems like you can only believe one, and I think the premiere did a good job putting them in opposition to each other, but not making you sure of which one you can really get behind.
Right.
And that's exactly where Tom is.
Which is a good way to start a show. And I think back to the whole casting issue, I think that casting thing, by casting Terry O'Quinn and Famke, like, it makes us as an audience want to have that inevitable meeting toward, you know, because they can't know each other are alive. I mean, at least she can't know that he's alive. And that puts Tom in the middle. But at some point, maybe at the end of season 1 of Blacklist Redemption, or maybe later, they will all get to meet each other and know that they're alive. And that those fireworks are something that I'm already looking forward to in the pilot. So I think the pilot did a great job of sort of setting that world up. Also, speaking of the world, we get to see our friends back at Halcyon again. So we get to see Solomon and all those people at work. And my man, the tech dude.
Dumont.
Adrian Martinez,
who's great. He's always great in all the stuff that he does. But thank you. Oh, ooh, jeez.
Get talking.
Sorry. All the great and all the stuff that he does. What I do like is what they seem to be doing, which is this a lot of this sort of heist structure of every procedural. I mean, we don't have the straight procedural. Each one of these cases seems to be this sort of elaborate, Ocean's 11 meets Mission Impossible style heist, which it borrows heavily from both, especially the Ocean's 11, right down to the Steven Sondheim, I'm sorry. Steven Soderbergh. Right down to the Steven.
Total Sweeney Todd, guys.
Focus up.
Sorry, right down to the Steven Soderbergh sort of like split screen over the weird jazz, or split screen over the James Brown.
Oh, but it's fun.
Like, it's fun. But it's very like, it's supposed to signify like, oh, there's a heist going on. It's split screen. There's a little James Brown in the background. Some stuff's happening, and then even further down the road with the Mission Impossible throwbacks, where they say a lot of like, this can't be done. This is absolutely impossible. This is uncrackable.
Can't be done.
Cue the music.
But have you heard of secret tunnels that nobody knows about?
Exactly. Have you heard of these secret tunnels that no one's known about?
And how, breaking into a museum? I don't remember breaking into a museum being that hard. Like, I've been to a couple museums. I mean, I don't know.
Here, I say all that to say, because we're running out of time, is that I don't care, because, again, when the cast is good and you like the people you're watching,
and also,
none of that stuff matters. It doesn't matter.
They use really fun devices in all of their capers and heists. The whole pool dropping out from under the hot swimmer, that was awesome. The whole sucking out all the oxygen but not tripping the alarm, that was awesome. The contact, that's
awesome.
Whatchamacallit? That was awesome. Like, these are fun things that we don't really see on television very often. And
I gotta say,
I like that.
I gotta say, as an audience member, I'm never a huge fan of the split screen, and I may be in the minority, but it fills me with anxiety, because I'm always like, shit, what am I missing? And I'm trying to watch 4 things at once.
Right.
And I get it for this episode especially, because they're trying to do so much in the pilot, and they've got 42 minutes to get it all in.
Right.
I get it, but it builds anxiety for me.
I do like it. Just for Ivan, the clarification, it's a spy show, not a procedural. I do know it's a spy show. I think it's a pretty good spy show. What I mean by that is they use the heist construct as to go through each individual case. When I say by procedural, they still Blacklist Redemption still has a case of the week, and they have a case of the week that they have to solve. But in this case, it's not a case of the week they have to solve. It's some sort of
a caper of the week.
Caper of the week. That's a procedural comparison I'm making. But I like all that stuff. I mean, Jody, are you okay with all that, all the weird sort of heist rip-off stuff?
Yeah, and that was probably by far my favorite thing when I, kind of walked away from the show and thought about it, is like, oh, I, didn't really realize that a spy show was something that I was missing in my life.
Yeah.
But I like what they're doing here, and it was, I think, super smart on the part of Bokenkamp and crew to really, I mean, I guess if I had thought hard enough, I could have realized that. But, you know, The Blacklist is a show that's set within the world of the FBI, and that by nature makes it a much more serious show. It's still fun. It has Spader giving his monologues, and, you know, it's still fast-paced. But this show, it's a little lighter. I mean, it's still like an orphaned kid looking for his parents who, like, you know, gave him up or fake murdered him or whatever when he was 4. But it's just a lot lighter, and it's really fast. That's why I like the split screen. You know, it feels like if you miss a few steps, it's not going to mess you up. And that kind of like builds a trust in this team, I think. And yeah, I found it to be really fun, and it makes me excited to watch it for 8 episodes.
And we also have some cool spy tech. We have the cool little ball thing they rolled in there that's in the room. We've got, you know, so we've got all kinds of cool tech in there as well.
I will say there was a little bit too much exposition for me for how they're going to conduct each one of these little caper things.
Construct.
I know, but
you
it just got
explain it to you.
They did like 4 different things, and I was just like,
first,
okay, I don't
you
even know
gotta
what
unlock the door. Then you gotta walk in. Then you gotta crack the safe. I mean, it's you know, it's the same.
You know, I watch it with the closed captioning on, because, you know, there's a lot of things that go past me. But there was just so much mumbo jumbo jargon. I was like,
Turn it off. I mean, you need that exposition. You need exposition in there to be able to fill that stuff out. I want to say, so look, we're actually running short on time. Unfortunately, we got to get out of here soon. But I want to mention, like, so I think all the elements of the show work. I think we're happy here. We talk about like the spy slash heist, you know, procedural construct. We like the idea of setting up the Tom in the middle with the dad on one side and the mom on the other. We like the team itself. Seems they're very fun to watch, and there's some tension there between Solomon and Tom. That's always fun. A little brotherly kind of like tension there. We like that. The thing that I wonder about, that I don't like as a thread, and I hope they don't keep it, is how long are we going to do this thing of like Scotty and Tom, like Scotty kind of hitting on Tom?
I don't like it.
It makes me so
do I have to go every
uncomfortable.
episode with Scotty hitting on Tom every episode and him kind of shrugging his shoulders? I mean, Jody, are you okay with this?
I don't love it. No, I do not love it. Very, very uncomfortable to watch, and it's kind of something, you know, that like the Blacklist skirts with, like, because the overarching question, whether they want to get away from it or not, is Red Liz's father? But like here, we know that lady's his mother. Like, unless something, and he knows, even if she wasn't his mother,
he thinks she is.
She's his mom, and like that's messed up.
You know, your Oedipus Rex, the Oedipus, what you call it, comparison is so apt. And if you look at the way that play is structured, nothing happens on stage. The Greeks were very careful about that. Right. Murder never happens on stage. Mayhem never happens on stage. It all happens off stage, and the character comes out and was like, you guys wouldn't believe how fucked up this is, the stuff that went on that we didn't show you. Right. And it's the same thing with Oedipus and Mom. You never see Oedipus and Jocasta hook up. You see them stand together stately, right, in front of the court, but you never really see Oedipus grabbing up on Mom's thigh to pull off the card. That's not happening.
And that's the thing, because Famke Janssen is amazingly sexy and incredibly. I mean, Famke's sexy, Scotty's sexy. I mean, it's fantastic. So you want to see her be sexy and do sexy stuff,
but not
just
with
not
with
her son. And by the way, Tom is sexy, Famke's sexy.
Right. I mean, you can't blame the woman. Like, she doesn't know that that's her kid.
Fair
and
enough.
Tom is hot. Like,
Super.
You get where it's coming from, but for the audience, that's a tough blow.
So I hope they sort of crack that.
Really like drove it home with the, you really know how to push my buttons.
Yeah.
Get me out of here.
Yeah. That's okay. So, unfortunately, folks, this is all the time we have for Blacklist Redemption, the first episode. We're going to be able to get into a lot more of this as next week. But we have the season finale of Blacklist, so now we've moved on into Blacklist Redemption. This crew will be covering that from here on until Blacklist comes back, and then we'll do some sort of crossover. We'll figure out how to do both. But that's all I got. We'll skip predictions. But Jody, where can the people find you? We have to wrap, unfortunately.
You can find me on Twitter at the Jody Walker, and if you are into the edible stuff, then you can also find me recapping Bates Motel at EW.com.
Speaking of edible,
wait a GD minute.
You know that we do
We
Bates
do
here.
Bates.
We'll talk to you offline.
Oh, we got to talk offline because that's an amazing show.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Anyway,
Jody knew.
Julia, where can the kids find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram with my name, Julia Cearley, JuliaCearley, and here for Bates Motel and Blacklist Redemption.
Flippy.
Joe Flippo, JoeFlippo on the Twitters, and we did Bates in the
Bates and
Blacklist and all that.
Yeah, and I'm Joe Braswell at Joe K. Braswell, Twitter and Instagram, and Bates Motel, Blacklist, and all that good stuff. Folks, thank you so much for Fantasy Stats Guru and Ivan and Andrea Martin and Watson Keene and Cassandra, all you folks in the chat room for joining us live. Thank you very much. We will see you next week for more Blacklist: Redemption. Bye-bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.